there's this funny thing about the brain that it doesn't know the truth versus false allegations. So even though you might know it inside, what I do know about the hippocampus is unless it's healed, it doesn't know or understand time. So you could think about a moment from the past, and your brain will think you are presently experiencing what it is you are remembering, which could cause an emotional outburst that's released. I guess this is why they have developed mindfulness techniques of looking around a room and naming 5 things you see, so that you can tell your present brain that you are not there to try to bring awareness, so do so mindfully. Whatever words that you say, your brain is just going to believe. So don't talk shit to someone else, because ultimately you eat those words for you. So if you say to yourself, I suck, or that person sucks too, the brain doesn't even know who you are speaking to, but it believes that the words that are being said coming out of your mouth are true about you as a human being. You can call someone an asshole in traffic. Guess what? Your brain just thinks that in its mind. It doesn't know that you were talking about someone else the entire time. So I guess this is why I might shake sometimes when I hear words or phrases that remind me of bad moments or memories. My body is going into a fight stage for me. I'm in a safe place within my life, but I do feel anger and get uncomfortable with the trembles inside. So I need to release the feelings off of my body. Nowadays, I try to carry less people around who speak unkind, and it's harder to let words go that are said negatively, because I'm not surrounding myself with that kind of energy. So it's a good thing for friends and other people, or I just stay in my head on the merry-go-round mindset that's not even spinning in the correct direction. I try not to even speak unkind in small situations inside my mind or about other people, so I don't carry those feelings in my brain or my body inside. It's not just me being like really sweet, it's me knowing that the brain would believe and hyper focus on some moments in time. And I personally have been through some incredibly terrible times. And I've had hard times driving with road rage, phases that didn't feel right or last long, so I had to learn how to keep my cool during the traffic line. A moment in my mind that stands out prominent was when I was 21 and my brother died. That day my brother passed away, my mom was away down the Cape, and we had to have her come home that night. So I think about how that must have been the craziest car ride that she's ever seen. And that's why I try to be even more mindful when I'm driving, thinking of what my family and what things we've experienced in our life. And I just hope that that person isn't rushing to an emergency during that time. The brain doesn't have any concept of time, and especially if you have ADHD. So without even knowing it, I could hear words from my story or history shake, because the brain puts you right back into that time and in a place where it creates flight, freeze, or fight state of mind, which for me is more of a freeze. Either I'll cry or ignore that it's happening around me. And the brain might think of the words that don't come out of my mouth adequately or in time. I'll think of it later that night when I'm in bed laying there and go, why didn't I think of that to say? If the body shakes, that means a need to release, because the body keeps the score. And that means if your body is like a scoreboard of the bad and good times that you have endured, that maybe it's not something that goes to your conscious mind or so timely all the time, but you have some sort of repressed memory from your timeline or your family. It doesn't matter where it came from, you can know that it's stored in the body. Have you ever seen a man from World War II walking around all grumpy, making grumpy noises like as he walks down the street or in the store or you pass him in line? Because to me, that signifies the war that he endured. They came home from war and never healed themselves emotionally. They actually probably just ended up having babies because their wives missed them, and now they have children by their side. And they can't even realize or fathom why are they acting a certain way. They have this loving baby by their side, but their actions don't match the way they want to feel. There was a man at the casino that I worked at, and he was a general in the war. And every day, everybody said that he was the meanest man of them all. And I said, yes, because he was a general in the war, don't you see? He didn't come home and get healed from everything that he had seen. They were boys who had to be men. There was no feeling of emotions at that time. So to me, that man is walking around every day, probably feeling like he's still on that front line of that war, even though he's looking around at a different time. It's all these years later in his body. Still feels like he's back there, probably drinking and absolutely unaware of who he truly is as a human being. For the ladies who were pregnant when those men had to leave in their lives, they were home alone feeling this sense of anxiety. If their husbands were going to return from war, so they're walking around with this baby in their belly and growing more. They're living their lives very strong because that's what women did at that time, while absolutely denying the stress that they felt in their lives, which goes to the mother and that unborn child. The stress in the body is carried to the baby, and that shit's real for emotions and family and those ties. So now World War II baby is born, and they go through life feeling stress that was their moms that they felt inside. And they don't even know why they feel stressed out too. They're just walking around grunting, and maybe even alcoholics in their lives too. Because this is the craziest thing that I ever have read, how females are born with all of their eggs in their body for their future baby. So when my mom was growing in my grandmother's stomach, I was the egg inside. When I was growing in my mom's stomach, my daughter was the egg that was growing inside. My child growing inside my stomach, she has eggs inside her body for her future generation if she chooses to have little human beings. And this is why families and generational trauma comes right down the chain line to you. How many times do you hear alcoholism in a family? It's not unusual. And it's usually one person. Not one person. It's generally many. It's interesting because you'll hear families say, oh, Uncle Chuck's an alcoholic. But so are the members by their side, just denying their chains while they white knuckle life, acting like they aren't going through some of the same struggles inside. That's why emotions and feelings come down the chain line. So I could be shaking with this sense of anxiety that might not even be mine. I just refuse to take meds and call it situational anxiety. I'll figure it out. It doesn't help that I drink an espresso coffee. So I want to feel through my feelings, even if they feel hard and give me a hard time. It's emotions and it's vulnerability, which does create connection in life. It doesn't come from perfection either. We are such a medicated society because we don't want to feel the motions in me, like everything is fine, and fine is not a feeling, and it's not happening for my life. I'd rather shake and have people say, she's shaking. Yeah, I could even tell you reasonings, or maybe I can't sometimes. But to me, shaking is a sign of more inner healing and feeling. Maybe it's breaking the chains that don't always even feel like mine. Just a sense of hurt from past times. Similar to when you stretch, you might feel part of your body shaking. That means you're building strength of the muscle. So I'll tell myself to feel it within me because the body keeps the score. And is where energy is stored and emotions hide. Sometimes you have to exercise mindfully. I was moving my body one night Mindful anger is what I called it in my life. I felt it in the arms and the legs shaking, throughout my arms and my fingertips, then the legs trembling. It took mindful acts of calming the visceral nervous system, letting it come through from inside deep. Finally, I laid in bed and listened to healing music that would calm me, my way, and the anxiety. Mindful anger one morning while I thought about people who hurt me. My fingertips got so numb, I felt like they were sleeping. And my arms were shaking. I healed it by making a fist, covering my thumb, and feeling that release. And gave myself a self-hug to remind myself that I was safe. Because my body was yelling at me to feel it. You never have before, so feel it inside. And it's so hard, but you know it's healing and feeling and getting uncomfortable with that trembling, shaking, numbing, and even acknowledging the sign. And it makes me realize I had anger inside me that I need to feel and release. I just didn't understand how to express it for some time, which comes from play. Permission, let's act young. You see, because many forget that sometimes, that emotions have to come out from movement in life. Somatic therapy, feel it in the body. And you have to find to release after you feel that anger inside. For me, I could shake my hands and signify, because after I mindfully feel anger, I'll feel a numbing. Moving my body after I write poetry or read. And expressing can create a sense of anxiety from the fact that I'm being so vulnerable with other people. Without even knowing that this is healthy, it's a way I started my healing journey for my life, and it's what I did. I would write my poetry every night. I felt that feeling mindfully and with such intensity. And yeah, I would cry and then dance to release. But now I look at that timeline and I see that the techniques that I was doing was so incredibly healthy. And I didn't even realize it at the time. And it was just different. And that's why I continue to do it every night. Different from anything I've ever done before for me. I wrote out poetry about what I had went through. Truth bills, I refer them to. And when I was done, that cry and release, all the feelings built up in my body. So I would hula hoop, dance, yoga, exercise, or even stand on my head upside down and feel like a child. It was healing and helpful. It relaxed my shoulders and back, and I'd get the blood flowing in the correct direction for me. I would feel tension within, which this helps me release. Because it's truly interesting what the brain believes, whether you feed it truth or lies. It will believe it in the brain's Byzantine. So eat good words like you would eat good food. It's like losing weight. You can't just say it while eating that fast food. The more and more words that you repeat, next thing you know, your body and your soul believes. So this is why I try to speak kind. But if you're around others who talk unkind, that's what your brain believes. If you only speak kind to you, but remain around people who talk BS about other people, well, good luck. You might as well be on a seesaw with a tire underneath, because you will have a really difficult time trying to eat the worth that you are trying to gain for you. You can eat it, but it won't be digested. It will just release, and the bad words will be stored in you. If everyone else around you is louder than your own voice and what they are saying isn't true, you just eat bullshit too. So speak nicely and keep people around you who are genuine, able to have good conversation so you can feel good internally. Because when you lie, your brain thinks it's true. And when you speak truth and kind, the brain believes that in you. Have you ever heard the statement, if you think you can or you can't, you're right? That's because it's the brain's time. But your brain can fight the soul inside. Your body can feel the truth or the lies. I've had people say some of the shittiest things about me. I have had to stay strong and know my integrity. Practice this routine to feel the effect within. Or you push you away. You'll start lying to yourself and then get more obnoxious every day. And after a while, the heart will feel squeezed. So realize, oh shit, I'm not feeding my worthy beast of the worthiness that's worthy within you. So remember your name, your character, integrity, respect, your reputation, story, and your truth. Because whether you can or you can't, you're right. So find that love inside you. I love you.